There was a Brendan Manning quote. He said, "The greatest single cause of atheism in the world today is Christians who acknowledge Jesus with their lips and deny him by their lifestyle."
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And I think, yeah, that he's saying something that resonates with a lot of people.
Uh-huh.
Um, and an example I think about, Jesus plainly says, "Blessed are the peacemakers," but you'll find a lot of people who claim to be his followers who seem to say, "Blessed are the war makers," if they have a good enough reason.
Yeah.
Like if there's a legitimate reason, blessed are the war
Uh-huh.
makers. So we know Jesus emphasized nonviolence. We know he emphasized care for weak and vulnerable people,
Mm-hmm.
and yet lots of times those who are claiming to follow him don't seem to have those same interests.
Yeah.
And yeah, that disconnect is really concerning. To name that, to say this is what's happening. I mean, I like this observation. That's not bitterness,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes that can get portrayed, well, you're just bitter.
Or negative.
Right, yeah, or
Yeah.
negative. No, to talk about reality, and not to engage in denial, is not to be bitter or negative or to be wanting to tear things down. There can't be any healing unless we can name and identify,
Yeah.
well, what's going on
Mhm.
with me as well. I mean, I can't heal if I can't realize what my own problems are, what my
Yeah.
own illness
And
is.
that's important work even in the medical field. You have to
Right.
diagnose the problem before you're addressing it. And so this is what we're doing as we notice these things.
Yeah, it's the first step is often just admitting and naming what's going on. And
Uh,
so this is a phenomenon that's going on. It seems to me Jesus admitted it as well. I mean, he even, predicted this. His most famous set of teachings is probably the Sermon on the Mount.
mhm.
And at the end of it, he's got a couple things he says. One is, some people will say to me, "Lord, Lord," and yet they're not doing, you know, what I'm saying. They're not
Yeah.
really doing the will of the Father. And then he finishes with that famous, we make a children's song out of it, the two men building one. The foolish man builds his house on the sand,
In the sand.
the wise on the rock. But his point is, if you listen and do not do what I'm saying, you're like the foolish man.
Mm.
But if you listen and put into practice the things I'm saying, so it's like he's predicting, I know that some people are going to kind of hear what I'm saying, but not really take it to heart.
Yeah. Or take it seriously.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
And it's not going to become something that transforms or shapes their life.
Mhm.
So if he knew that, then it shouldn't be shocking that that's still a reality,
Yeah.
um, that we can see and we can experience.
Yeah. I appreciate you bringing that up. And I think just this conversation reminds me of the struggle that we've had with the Christian label itself
Right.
because of that. Because when you say Christian, there's so much attached to it.
Yeah.
And
People make assumptions. As soon as you say, well, I'm a Christian, they think, oh, so you think this. And you're like, well, no,
yeah.
I don't actually think that,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, lots of times, you almost want to say, well, I'm a Christ follower or something.
Uh-huh.
Maybe if I change the terminology a little, they won't put me in a pigeonhole, or
Yeah.
in a box where they think I am.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's baggage
Yeah.
because of that disconnect.
Yeah. And we can make a distinction between the the system or the beast that Christianity is versus Christ and his way and his there could be a difference between the system and
Yeah. Yeah, acknowledging, naming the problem is also not to misidentify the problem. The
yeah.
problem is not really what Jesus was talking about or how he lived.
Uh-huh.
The the problem is our imperfect attempts to live it out, and sometimes very misguided views about what he was saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, naming it is not only naming the problem, but also naming it as, well, the problem is with the followers, which I think that's the Gandhi quote you started
Uh-huh.
with, is Gandhi realized it's not Jesus I have an issue with.
Yeah.
But as an Indian in his time under British rule, and the British were very much Christian, and it's like, Jesus I admire, but you who, claim to be followers of Christ, you British who are ruling India in a particular way,
Mhm.
I'm not, I'm not comfortable with what you're saying and doing.
Yeah.
And of course, that's what he was opposing through nonviolence, ironically,
Yeah.
through a more Christian way than the British were acting at the time.
And I
So,
appreciate you keep bringing up the examples that we see in the text, like because I think about Peter,
yeah.
who was close to Jesus, but still didn't really get the message while Jesus, like he was walking with Jesus.
Well, and James and John, you know, they're like, this village rejected us. Do you want us to call down fire from
Yeah,
heaven?
exactly.
You know, and
So
Jesus,
talk about not getting it.
right? It's like, shouldn't we use violence here? And Jesus
Yeah.
is so yeah. If his closest disciples aren't getting it all the time, even as presented in the text, we shouldn't be shocked that that's a continuing reality.
Yeah.
We just want to realize where it is, how it shows up, and what we can do about it.